So please now welcome to the stage my four esteemed guests, Jon Wilkins, Chairman of Karmarama. Thank you, Jon. This is board partner and CEO of R.epense from Denmark. Thank you. And Caroline, if I can ask you up, Caroline McLaughlin, everyone, Managing Director, DDI Australia. And finally, Otavio Dias, Founder and President of R.epense from Brazil. Wonderful, so loads and loads of things to discuss there, and I'll ask you to be thinking of questions, but perhaps I could just ask each of you, we've heard about the changing nature, haven't we, of client expectations, so just very briefly, without going into too much detail what your businesses actually do, from an agency perspective, your biggest challenges in meeting these, so could we start with you, Jon?
Well, all the speakers made very good points. I think trying to get the right blend of skills for us under one roof, working as one team against one client agenda. So, whether it's to provide sort of trusted strategic advice or the right balance between technology, PR and advertising and brand. I think they're probably the biggest challenges, and they're things that we strive to address.
Okay, all right, lovely. And is it the same for you?
I had one of the same one, but I was thinking about another one, and that is actually to convince our clients that we deliver great value. I think that's a very, very important task for our agency business as such, because I really think we do, and I think that brands and the way we do things is so important, and maybe more important now than ever for companies. But still, we are a little bit sometimes seen as somebody that comes in and speak at this level, and it's our own fault. But basically, we should be better at that. So I think that's a big challenge for us. McKinsey is coming in the door and have I don't know how much money for what they do. Why are we not paying the same? Is it because we do less value, or I don't know, but that's one of the challenges.
Okay, all right. And how about you,
Yeah, I think definitely building on that, there seems to be this disconnect, this vagary between what we do and the value that clients attach to that. And I found it fascinating in the panel this morning that all of the clients that were here very quickly and easily attach value to ideas and creativity and inspiration. And yet all of the things that we as agency folk need to deliver those, there's very little awareness or attention on. And I feel like never the twain shall meet. And to me, there's a spillover effect that leads to a whole bunch of the other things that came up this morning around model and being effectively remunerated and retaining talent and keeping talent inspired. We talked about awards and not of and by themselves, but as I guess a way of boosting culture and keeping agencies alive and buzzing and having talent perform to their full potential. I think they're all interconnected, and it's quite a complex web, but one that it would be great to interrogate more in the next couple of days.
Yeah, it was so good to hear the clients before these last speeches because it's so much connected, and when we hear what every country is facing, from Brazil to Australia to the US. I think the blurred lines between disciplines is a huge challenge for us because, I don't know if it was Sabrina or Amanda, everything's connected, so it's impossible to plan a campaign, to plan a program, and not to connect the disciplines. So at the same time, we have specialized people, specialized agencies, so this is a challenge for us. I think that data is a huge challenge as well. As Paul just said here, I think that it's more data you have, the best your insight, your strategy, and it's something that in some agencies also separated, not integrated in our structure. Sometimes inside a client, sometimes another partner. So I think the collaboration issue, learn how to work with other suppliers, how to collaborate with the clients, it's like something we'll need to learn, because if we don't collaborate, we will not be successful anymore. And together with that, we have the procurement issue. Everybody knows how tough and difficult it's to be profitable nowadays as an agency. So it's a difficult equation. So, but it's exciting to see that everybody is thinking about that. Everybody is facing the same challenges. But I see a new wave, you know, of more integrated agencies, more the CRM digital that brought all these measurements in the past coming back as a very strategic and important thing. So it was very, very exciting.
Okay, very exciting. This is one word that comes up that, you know, it's a really exciting time to be in the industry you're in. Does anybody have any questions at this stage? Because the microphone ball could be coming your way. Anybody? Yes, gentleman here. Thank you.
This is amazing. Hi, I'm John Harris from the USA, Worldwide Partners. I'm not sure how many of you started your agencies, but you've been there for many years. If you were building an agency from the beginning, complete white space right now, what would it look like?
Okay, well, I think it's only fair for everybody to have a go. So, John, do you want to speak?
Yeah, well, I've only started one, and that was a few years ago. But that's what would I do? I would stick to the core disciplines of being extremely strategic and having groundbreaking ideas, but I'd move a lot more upstream. So I wouldn't put ideas through communications channels the way we've done. I would avoid any specialism. I would focus on sort of business changing creativity. And the reason I do that is touching on the McKinsey question. You know, we work with Deloitte, McKinsey, you name it, and they get paid a lot of money for producing rubbish, as far as I can see, like weighty PowerPoint that disrupts organisations. They wouldn't have an idea if it slapped them in the face. So I would apply our strategic consumer insight and rigour and creativity and move it upstream.
I agree with you, but I didn't found Advance, but I've been there for more than 20 years, so I've been a part of the growth we have had. But I think to answer that question, it's also looking at the client side to see what is happening out there, because there's a lack. You know, all the clients want trust, transparency, and honesty, and that is what was said before. But the clients are not there for very long. So basically that's the reason why it's so important for us to move up and to be able to build an organization that has the ability to do that. Because if we cannot do that, we are met with marketeers that are there for 1 year, maybe 2 years, you know, then they go further for another job. So it's very, very difficult for us to basically build that partnership if this is the only place you are in. And this is the strong thing with McKinsey. They go to the top, and we need to be able to do that, and then we need to have people that are good at that. So that's why we need data people in the agency, because every people is talking about data right now, but we also need a very, very strong creative culture with strong creatives, and because this is also what we're selling, as I see it.
All right, thank you. Caroline, what would it be?
Yeah, for me it's all about culture. It's about, there are two facets to that. One, no pickers, basically, just decent, nice people. I think our business has a bit of a bad reputation. Sensitive. So there's a tendency to believe that niceness and great work and amazing, startling, revolutionary thinking are mutually exclusive. I fundamentally disagree with that, so that's part one. And then I think, to build on what you just said, building a mecca for creativity and inspiration, making it an inspiring place for people to come into every day, being flexible, embracing 2016, creating flexi working hours, and really just, you know, they say now culture trumps strategy every day of the week. I've seen that executed, and I'm a huge believer in that.
Caroline, thank you.
Yeah, I like to say that technology enables, but creativity wins. But I think that in agencies we have like separated structures for the tech guy and the creative guy. I think I'm trying to do this right now to R.epense. I think we have to put these guys together. If I should start again, I would start with like sitting on my side, the leaders of this to the creativity leader and the technology leader. They have to work very closely, because all we're hearing about, we cannot close our eyes to what's going on with programmatic media, the results it's bringing, the importance it will still get. But we also have to bring creativity to programmatic, so you can do programmatic with more or less creativity. So put creativity closer to technology. I think this is something crucial for the future. We'll never end. The importance of creativity is, it's a business. We have to be creative. The clients expect that from us. But I think we have to stop looking like creative directors like they're gods. At the same time, stop looking at technology guys like they're nerds, and learn how to put them together. And I think this is the future.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have any questions? Yes, gentlemen.
Thank you. God, this is weird. I'm Brian Garvey from the Big Partnership up in Glasgow. One of the issues that we face, and I hope I'm not alone in this, but is the whole question of over-servicing, scope creep, that sort of thing. So you get a brief for one thing and then another 2 or 3 things get chucked into it. And I'm very conscious of the need to be flexible with clients, but at the same time, you know, we've got 115 people and we'd like to grow that. So I'd be interested in your thoughts on how you manage that, those conversations with clients, how you set the expectation early, and how you prevent coming across as if you're being difficult rather than remaining flexible and part of the client's team.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, is that something you all experience and you'll have to adapt and be flexible too? Yeah, Jon?
I mean, I'm not an expert on the negotiation side, but I do think there's two challenges within that question. One being how you put the right contracts in place with the right strike rate and get tighter at defining scope of work, which is certainly something we're doing. I think we were so surprised and delighted back in the day when clients wanted to pay us. We forgot to ask what we were actually going to do. But now we do actually write it down and get quite tight on that, and bringing in sort of 3 strikes rules and, you know, trying not to keep re-editing. So I think there's all of that. We're more disciplined on that front. But I think the other thing we have to look at ourselves for, which is a sort of self-criticism, is how quickly we get to ideas. I think traditional agency structures are impediments to rapid ideation. And so what we're also trying to do is speed ourselves up, if you like, through different ways of working and different alchemy and chemistry of people, because as you add more channels on, in theory, you're adding more complexity potentially to the delivery of ideas. So part of it is obviously sharpening up commercial practice, but I think part is looking at our own mode of operation and how we can be quicker.
Okay, all right. Anybody want to add to that? I'm sure you've all experienced it.
I think the commercial side of this new world, like to be a multidisciplinary agency, how do you make money being multidisciplinary, doing advertising and digital? It's something new. Actually, at the same time, the clients want agents to be more transparent. Sometimes they don't want really to know the agency's costs. So I think we should be able to show the client, okay, what's the structure we need to deliver this work, and this is how much it costs, and clients should hear it. So I think it's an important issue. In Brazil, we have like agencies, traditional agencies earn money based on media commission, and it doesn't support the business anymore. So, and at the same time, the clients complain. The clients also sometimes don't want to hear the truth, you know. So it's a very challenging equation, but I think it's a moment of change. You know, I think that's the clients is feeling this as well. So I think we have an opportunity to sit and kind of restart the relationship and in a more honest way, what we want, what we will deliver to you, what the team that I need to have to do that, what do I do inside, what do I outsource. I think transparency is something that's got to be both sides of the, not only they complain about us, but we also complain about and asking for transparency as well.
Okay, Otavio, thank you. That's just
I just had a funny story from yesterday because basically I think it's about being brave and going in and believing yourself. But I had a meeting yesterday in London with one of the biggest brands in the world. It's one of our clients, Johnson & Johnson. I had a meeting with procurement, so I came into that meeting. I was the only one. I was dressed up to kill. I really wore my suit and everything. You know, I thought, oh, it would be so horrible to go in there for 3 hours. And it was the best meeting I ever had with procurement. And this is, I don't know if Thomas is still here from Deutsche Telekom, but you know, they are not enemies. I think we need to be more brave and tell us what is our problems as agencies. If you tell us if you don't tell us what to do before we have to do it, then we will never be able to solve basically the brief or the task. So tell them to say we need to know 3 months in advance, what are we going to do next year? Tell us the scope of work, define it, say this is what you have to do, this is the team you have to have in place. So we need to be more brave and say we need to have that, otherwise we'll never be able to deliver that service and we'll never be able to be that partner you want us to be, basically. So be more brave.
Be more brave, okay. Caroline, do you have a point on that one?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like in a way we're our own worst enemies as agencies. They're conversations that we just rather not have. And yet, you know, the flip side of that is we're not making enough money and it becomes difficult to do the works that the clients expect from us. So I agree. I think being bold, brave, and actually just opening up the coffers from the get-go with clients is a good start.
Okay, lovely, thank you.
We have one principle in the agency also to how to organize. We have a principle called 50-50. So we have 50 employees, now we have 60, but 50 to 60 employees, but 50 freelancers, because it's also a matter of and building a culture around that to be able to be much more agile, because we also need the best men on the job. So we need to have different resources to bring in.
Is that the way that we talked about globalization being an issue?
Yeah, that's the way. That is also what gives, because we cannot put our cost structure up here. So that's the whole thing about doing things right.
But I do think there's also, it's probably a mini elephant in the room, which is the fact that if we liken this to dating, someone mentioned relationship love affairs, one party is always going to be picking up the check, and it's not the agency, it's the client. And I think if we're really, really honest, that does create something of a lopsided partnership. I'm a big believer in partnership and openness and trust and all of the great things we talked to this morning. But I think that's always there as an undercurrent, especially as an independent, where if you have a really bad client agency review and it compromises the health or strength of that client, that impacts the business. I mean, you don't have, you know, a global kind of resource backing you up. You are only as good as your best day. So I feel like that's always there as well.
Okay, Caroline, thank you. Anybody else have a question?
Just to pick up on that, because it's interesting. I mean, we're an independent business. We're just about to hire, for the first time, a sales kind of manager. And what I'm looking for is like a proper salesperson to bring a sales culture. And it's not the hard sell, but the idea that we're also, as independent businesses as well, as business owners, you become so afraid to sell, but properly with a skill where your customer sees greater value than the price you're charging, right? Which is what we're talking about, how we get up the chain. Have any of you in your businesses, have you brought more than a biz dev, or have you brought like sales culture or sales expertise into your businesses?
It's a conversation that we have not yet acted on, but have definitely picked up on. And we were chatting to someone who's been doing that in the financial services area, because I think it's not a great discipline in general within this industry. It's interesting. I'd love to hear how that goes.
I think probably doing that, we're probably too proud to do that for our course, for being an agency, because you're in the radar, you're pitching, you're doing that. But certainly on some of the newer technology-driven products, data, we sell outbound. We've probably got, I'm guessing, I'm looking to Liz, but 4 outbound salespeople who work in the business, but not on kind of core comms, if you know what I mean. And they do well, and they're targeted and commissioned, and all the classic stuff. So
they're like converting business as well.
Well, they
think sometimes we fall down, right? Is it
that's
wants
true.
to buy from us, but we're not ready to actually sell to them.
They're more, I must admit, they're a little bit more lead gen, but producing a pool that's then mined by the sort of specialists.
Yes, we had the experience of having a sales team. It works, it helps to generate leads, but what we experience is that we gotta be there. At the end of the day, especially a small agency, they wanna be with you, they wanna hear your story, they wanna know you. So, and we have to be capable of training people to tell the story the way we tell. But our business is much about relationship. It's about trust. So I like what Brian told in the debate. He was saying, I think credential presentations are all boring. And I think the 2 seconds, if you have chemistry or not chemistry, you already know if it's that the agency or that's very true. Sometimes you gotta be there. Most of the big business we won, we were there presenting our business with our passion, with the way we believe things should be. Yeah.
Jon, I know that we've lost you at one, haven't we? So do you want to lead off?
If that's all right.
Okay, so big
Sorry,
round of applause
sorry,
for Jon.
sorry.
Is this going to lead to just a couple of questions before we break for lunch. I've got one just to, yes, we'll come to you in just a moment. I just was interested to know what Graham would say about the chemistry meetings and how he's moving away from traditional pitches. Is that something that you're finding that's coming through, or how much part of your business are you still doing traditional pitches?
Yes, in Brazilian market, we're starting to see pitches in different formats. Not the traditional briefing and solution, but workshops, so the teams can meet each other.
Yes.
The real people that's going to be in the real day life, the account people, the media people, the creative people. To see, I think this is very interesting. There's a company called Grupo Consultores in Brazil. It's an international company. They're doing some pitches. Not doing the traditional way anymore. They just, you show your credentials, you show your case studies, and then you go like top 2 or top 3 agencies, and then they put the agency together, team, together with the client team, and then you can see how they feel about working with that people. I think services, sometimes you lose an account because of an account person that the client doesn't like, So it's so important to be sure that people have the same culture. Some companies are great, but they don't have the same culture. So, all the same kind of people. So, I think the chemistry is very important for agencies, in my opinion, to maintain a client.
Okay.
I think pitching is a whole can of worms unto itself, really. And I think, again, this comes back to who we are as an industry and why we would feel that it's okay to share the crown jewels without asking for any money in return and be perfectly, polite and courteous when the answer comes back no. To me, it's just, again, I think we're our own worst enemies in so many ways of pitching, but yes, absolutely, it's alive and well and flourishing in Australia.
Okay, all right, so okay, just to take the one last question then, please, microphone ball to the gentleman there. We're going to throw that on.
Where's it going?
Just there.
Ready?
Hi, my name is Alvin. I'm from Singapore. I run an ad agency called Alchemy, and we sell sushi. We started selling sushi a couple years back, and then suddenly the ad agency found a specific niche, and it's helped us quite well to tell our clients like we've done it on our own too, so I'm sure it will work on your business. But the question that I have in mind for you guys is that we always tell our clients, right, how to sell their businesses and their brands. How do the three of you sell your own brand and your own agency?
Okay, great one, thank you.
That was a very difficult one, I must admit. Very difficult question, and we are bad at that. We are not good at that. I think, again, to be transparent there, that because we keep working for our clients, and we are so passionate, and we are at Lego, at Johnson & Johnson, and we don't think enough about ourselves. So this is a huge challenge we have. We really try to do it, and it's a part of our big strategy now, and you create a power brand, blah, 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 but still, and I think it's also a matter of being very sharp of what you're good at, and what is again, is it full service? Are you specialized? The whole thing about if you have the right story and you go to the right clients, it's much easier, I think. And I don't know if I'm convinced this big branding with big advertising. I don't think that's the right way of doing it. But we are doing it, but not good enough. So, honest answer.
Work in progress.
Yeah, work in progress.
Okay, Carol?
I think there are probably two facets to it. One is who you choose to sell to, so who you engage in the conversation with in the first place. And that sounds easy, but it's hard, especially when big dollar signs are being dangled at you. If intuitively it doesn't feel like a great fit, it's a hard step to take, but sometimes you're better placed, I think, to walk away. So that's been a big learning for us. And then the other is, know thy strengths and just tell them with authenticity. We're very unsalesy in how we approach things. We just talk to who we are, and if that connection is there, I think you feel it through pheromones and all those intangibles that got referenced this morning.
Thank you.
I think it's a great question because we all know the client's job is always the last job on the list. So if that week we had too many jobs, it's going to go to the next week. So, but we have 10 years old, and this year was the first year we actually dedicated some energy, true energy and true budget, to rebuild a website, to do a new presentation, to do a new video. So it's a good question because we know that usually we don't do that. So I think it's so important. I think we have to give the example, like the way people see our brand, and in any point of contact, from websites to social media, it should be outstanding. It should be as good as what we do for our clients, and sometimes we forget about that. So we're doing this year. We didn't finish it yet, but I hope we finish and begin next year with everything totally new. But it's a great question. We all should put money, time, and passion in rethinking our own brand and every point of contact.
Thank you very much for that question, and thank you for coming all that way as well. So please give a round of applause for our